Hello and welcome back to Part 8 of the Psychology of Eating series. Today we will be taking on one of the most common and most difficult of weight loss adversaries, the dreaded weight loss plateau. If you are like most people, encountering a weight loss plateau leads to emotions such as anxiety and anger, and often to a feeling of futility about your ability to be successful. For a great many people each year, a weight loss plateau is a harbinger of failure. That symbolic moment when progress stops and the weight starts piling back on. It may seem like the only solution is to find a weight loss plan that miraculously avoids plateaus entirely. The radical alternative that we will discuss today is that most of us have been taught to look at weight loss plateaus in the wrong way. Specifically, we have been taught a certain set of attitudes and beliefs about plateaus that we will call our plateau psychology. A psychology that for most people produces emotions and behaviors that limit their success. Because weight loss plateaus are unavoidable, the real solution is to develop a better plateau psychology, one that can promote a healthier way to respond to them. Exactly what this better plateau psychology consists of is what we will explore today. Briefly here on this slide, you can see that the psychology of plateau topic that we are discussing today leaves us with just one more topic to explore in our next and final class. So what is a plateau? How do plateaus happen? How do plateaus relate to our expectations about weight loss? In practice, a plateau represents the period of time when weight loss slows and even grinds to a halt after an initial period of success. There are many factors that cause plateaus, and we'll explore a number of these today. Some of these plateau-causing factors may be self-evident to you, while others may surprise. As you can see from the right side graphic on this slide, expectations turn out to play a big role in plateaus, for some people at least, because they've been led to believe that weight loss should be a swift and steady process instead of the slow and inconsistent process that it actually is most of the time. Correcting these expectations sometimes helps people a great deal, not by eliminating the plateau per se, but by helping them remain in a mental and emotional state to take effect. Every person has a plateau psychology that you could define as their attitude about plateaus. A person's plateau psychology produces certain emotional and behavioral responses when they encounter a plateau. Because most people's plateau psychology is negative, most of their responses to plateaus are unhelpful and often even harmful. Until our plateau psychology improves, we are probably stuck either on a weight loss merry-go-round or on a yo-yo cycle. Now, developing a new and improved plateau psychology involves breaking down the old bad ideas that we had about plateaus and replacing them with a better set of beliefs. The idea of steady, consistent weight loss, for example, is a myth that we must destroy. It just doesn't work that way except for short periods of time. Plateaus, it turns out, are a normal part of the weight loss journey that we must learn how to manage. That, or we will be left to suffer consequences such as weight regain, emotional suffering, and a loss of confidence. Let's explore some basic questions about plateaus that challenge how they are typically perceived. According to most people, plateaus are always a bad thing when it comes to weight loss. They are always an enemy, and they don't know any other ways to respond to them other than with frustration and with the naive hope that they somehow won't happen to them. However, it is probably apparent from your own experience with plateaus in the past that if we want better weight loss results, we must have a better way of responding to plateaus than getting upset about them or leaving our progress up to blind luck. Here is a point-by-point comparison of the standard way of looking at a weight loss plateau versus the perspective offered here in our psychology of eating system. The shocking thing about the traditional view on weight loss plateaus is that every single part of this view is wrong. You might even argue that it is worse than wrong because the traditional view on plateaus doesn't just lead you astray, it actually leads you in the opposite direction of progress. When you realize that most people are operating with a plateau psychology that is the very opposite of true, then It is no wonder that even determined, well-intended people find themselves spinning their wheels instead of achieving their weight loss. So let's break down the psychology of eating perspective on plateaus point by point. And let's start with perhaps the most fundamental shift. That is to appreciate that not only is a weight loss plateau not your enemy, it is your desired goal. What do I mean? Well, unless your goal is to starve to death by losing weight indefinitely, your goal is to reach a certain weight and then stabilize it at that weight. Isn't stabilizing at a weight just another way of defining a plateau? Now, if your goal is to reach a weight and stay there, that is to plateau at your preferred weight, how on earth are you going to stay at that weight without developing the skills to maintain this plateau? If you experienced a miracle tonight and woke up tomorrow at your dream weight, what are the chances that you could stay there? For most people, their chances are slim to none because they don't know how to maintain a lower weight. The only way to learn how to do this is through practice, and that is what every plateau offers you an opportunity. The second shift on plateaus is that they are simply a form of feedback to you about your weight loss program. Contrary to the common attitude, a weight loss plateau isn't a reflection on your personal worth as a human being, or even on your ability to ultimately be successful. It is simply telling you how things are working right now. As you can see from the picture here, Thomas Edison used exactly this type of plateau psychology in finding the solution for a light bulb. He didn't see failures, only feedback that he used from his experiments to make adjustments until he eventually found the solution. Imagine that you started to use your own weight loss progress and plateaus like a scientist performing a metabolic experiment, using the results as a source of information to guide and improve your efforts. How far could that shift in mindset take you if you were patient and just kept? The third change in your plateau psychology that I encourage is to use plateaus as an opportunity to develop your own personal weight loss formula. Have you ever wondered why there isn't a single diet or exercise plan that works for everyone? Well, the answer is that each of us just has too many personal variables to permit a universally effective plan for weight loss. We're different ages, have different body types, and have different body chemistries. We have different lifestyles, food preferences, social environments, and health restrictions. The truth is that the weight loss solution for you personally is never going to fall from the sky like Moses descending from the mountain with the Ten Commandments. Instead, you and I each have to go through the trial and error process of figuring out what works for us individually. And I know this can be a hard one to swallow. We all want to jump right to the weight loss finish line. But unless we've learned the right lessons along the way, we won't be able to keep the result. The fourth point about plateaus is that they are often temporary. At any given time, a host of factors affects the weight that you see on the scale. For example, your exercise and diet plan are obviously part of these factors, but so are hydration levels, hormone changes, sleep quality, stress levels, salt intake, even the weather, such as extra humid or extra dry conditions. Instead of overreacting to a plateau, keep on doing what you were doing consistently for at least 1 to 2 weeks before you draw the conclusion that your weight loss is really stalled. Oftentimes, all you need is a little patience and persistence, and you will find that you work your way through. Point number 5 is that plateaus are not a personal failing. They are perfectly normal. In fact, plateaus are even universal, and not only for weight loss, but for anything that involves a long-term process to reach a goal. No athlete gets faster or stronger every time that they train. No musician gets better every time that they practice. Plateaus are everywhere, and they await every single person that is trying to get better at something. If we can learn to take weight loss plateaus in stride, like the need to stop for gas, food, and sleep on a cross-country vacation, we can keep our cool and probably eventually get to our destination. Those are some of the key elements of a new plateau psychology from the psychology of eating system. With a better plateau psychology, you respond with different emotions. Instead of anger or despair, you respond with curiosity or determination. Similarly, you respond with different behaviors. Instead of giving up, you persevere and make helpful adjustments. Now that we've explored some of the elements of a better plateau psychology, what are the truly effective ways to respond when you encounter a weight loss plateau? In this slide, I've summarized 8 effective plateau response strategies. I refer to these strategies as the progress formula to make the strategies a little easier to remember. Let's talk briefly about each strategy. The first strategy in the progress system is patience, and we've already referred to this one. I keep patience right at the top of the list of strategies because it's the best way to initially respond to a weight loss plateau. Why make big changes, after all, when there is a good chance that the plateau will pass on its own if you just stick with your routine? So watch your progress for a couple of weeks and otherwise stay consistent. Strategy number 2 is called revisit your reasons. This refers to reminding yourself why weight loss is so important to you. One of the most common causes for plateaus that I see in people is that they begin to cut corners on their program. People are highly motivated initially, and that's exactly when they're at their most consistent. As time goes on, however, they begin to drift, missing workouts, sleeping in, fudging on their portion sizes, and so on. These small changes in consistency are often the difference between continued progress and a plateau. Sometimes all a person needs to break through a weight loss plateau is rekindling their motivation to get back on track with their original program instead of doing anything new. Strategy 3 consists of resuming diet and exercise logs. Carpenters have a rule that goes like this: measure twice, cut once. They realize the importance of precision if you want to avoid mistakes. Now, if you were sailing along with your weight loss program, making good progress, food and exercise logs might be optional for you. However, when progress stalls, that is exactly the time to get back into the logging habit. Often, these logs will reveal why you have hit the plateau and at the same time give you the solution. Strategy 4 involves possibly the single best strategy ever created for making progress. This is the process of making a small adjustment, examining the results, and continuing those steps until you are getting the outcome that you. This slide is a larger graphic of strategy 4. As you can see, the process is very intuitive. If what you are doing is working, then stay the course and be consistent. However, if you are not getting what you want, make a change. This doesn't mean make 10 changes or change everything. If you make many changes at the same time, you won't be able to tell what caused the improvement. Instead, make a small or focused change in your diet, exercise, or lifestyle plan, and give that some time to reevaluate the results. To keep progress sustainable, you want to make the smallest change necessary to keep you moving forward. It may be tempting to work out 3 hours a day or go on a 5-day fast, but any progress you make from that kind of a change won't last. The 5th progress system strategy for plateaus is about accountability. Most of us progress better when we have an accountability system that puts some positive pressure on us. Now, there are many ways to increase our accountability, such as making your goals public, getting a workout partner, hiring a personal trainer, setting a deadline on your weight loss results, joining a 5K or related athletic event in your community to inspire you, joining a weight loss support group, or reconnecting with a weight loss professional. All of these are examples of approaches that can give us the personal leverage that we need to break out of a plateau. This next strategy involves expanding your definition of weight loss success to include more than a number. Nobody wants to be thinner if that result will make them frail, sick, and weak. Instead, we want to be thinner along with being healthier and stronger. When you think about it that way, it becomes obvious that successful weight loss is about more than just a number. You want to look better, feel better, and be better able to do the things that you enjoy. The options on this slide are ways to expand your success criteria by including other ways to measure how you are progressing. Many times, these criteria change right along with your scale weight decreasing, but not always. In fact, with the harsh methods that many people use to lose weight, it is in fact pretty common for them to feel worse, have less energy, and have a poor quality of life despite supposedly progressing in terms of their scale weight going down. In this slide, I want to change your mindset about weight loss to appreciate that weight loss on the scale matters when and only when you are progressing in terms of these other criteria. When you are progressing across these new criteria, it is a very good sign that you are losing weight in the right way and at the right pace. The seventh plateau strategy suggests that you increase your social support. Most people function at their best when surrounded by supportive people. At the same time, it is much harder for most people to do well when they are on their own. When we are by ourselves, not only do we need to know what to do, we must be our own coach and our own motivator. And that's a lot to ask sometimes. The additional advantage of increasing your support network is that it tends to greatly increase the enjoyment of becoming a healthier and more active person. Why not lose weight, work through plateaus, and have the best possible time doing so, rather than forcing yourself down a lonely weight loss journey? The final plateau strategy in the progress system is to seek professional assistance. I keep this strategy last because the goal of the psychology of eating system is to promote your own personal independence, helping you become the person who has the skills, mindset, and resourcefulness to achieve your own goals. That said, there are times in all of our lives when we need an expert. In the same way that even a handyman probably can't perform every home repair or fix every problem with their car, even a person skilled and knowledgeable about weight loss can sometimes encounter an obstacle they can't solve alone. When you've tried your own solutions to no avail, skip the self-criticism, pick up the phone, and call an expert that you can trust to work through the problem. We are nearing the home stretch, and I want to offer you a piece of wisdom here about the weight loss process that can save you a lot of frustration down the road. This wisdom is that we each need to recognize that the weight loss process is a little bit like a video game, and that it progresses in difficulty. You will have to get more and more skillful as you go along. In terms of weight loss, this means that we will have to make frequent improvements along the way if we want to reach our ultimate destination. I included a picture of martial arts belts here in this slide because it is such an excellent visual example of this wisdom. We all know that a person beginning karate has a long process ahead of them to earn a black belt. The training process in martial arts breaks this process down into distinct stages of skill that a person must demonstrate before working towards the next. What a beginner in karate, what they call a white belt, does in order to progress to the second stage as a yellow belt is much different than what they will need to do later to advance from a brown belt to a black belt. It might be a lot of fun if we gave out progress belts for weight loss in the same way that they do in martial arts. But even without these belts, the philosophy of gradual progress and ongoing personal growth applies. In closing, here's a practical tool that can help you remain consistent on your weight loss journey and help you respond effectively to the plateaus that you will occasionally encounter. I call this tool the daily reminder. It is intended to be something that you revisit on a regular basis as a way of reminding you of important truths about the weight loss process. Point 1 reads, "My body is 70% water and has a mind of its own. It doesn't like losing weight and will do so only grudgingly. I must be patient if I am to succeed." Point 2 reads, "My body is complex. I can do everything right on some days and not lose weight, and everything wrong on other days and not gain weight. If I do not accept this truth, I am doomed to frustration." Here is point 3. "Mastering my weight is like mastering a trade. I need to learn from my experience, evaluate when things aren't going according to plan, and make adjustments. This process will never stop." Point 4 is that when it comes to weight, daily weights matter a little. Weekly weights matter more, and monthly weights are even more important. Reminding myself of this helps me to keep a long. Number 5, I will remember that weight is only one of the signs that my body is becoming healthier, along with how I'm feeling, functioning, and my clothes are fitting, and not overemphasize it. Point 6 reads, "My identity has changed. I am now a thin, active, and healthy person in an overweight body. It may take some time for my body to catch up, but this is who I am now, and I'm never going." The last part of the daily reminder is point 7, and it reads, "I will remind myself often of the reasons behind my weight loss efforts. This isn't about just reaching some number on a scale. This is about achieving a weight and a body that allows me to contribute to my causes, pursue my dreams, and live the life that I desire." Keep in mind that this daily reminder is something that I developed based on my conversations with people over the years. Maybe it works for you exactly as it is, or maybe you want to use it as an example to develop your own reminder. Finally, I'll leave you with a picture that summarizes the reality of weight loss better than 1,000 words or slides from me. Although we yearn for a smooth and simple road to weight loss, such as the part of the image on the left, that road doesn't exist outside of fairy tales. Like it or not, our lives appear on the right side. Rather than complaining about the unfairness of the weight loss process or wasting energy wishing that it was easier, let's pick up our feet and start walking the uneven and often uphill path to our goal. As challenging as this path may seem at times, I guarantee that you will get there a lot faster than by looking for a metaphorical yellow brick road to weight loss.